Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brownwater Banter Podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
That's right. And we got a great show lined up. We're going to continue on through the politics, man, all the way up until August the 8th. We told you we were going to cover it, and that's what we're doing. We got Randy Bosarge in the studio this evening.
Hello.
He's the current supervisor for District 5 and
Yes.
is also running for re-election.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that. But before we jump into the conversation, we have to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brownwater Studios. If you don't already know, you should. 2023 is the year to keep your mouth clean, man. Go jump over to Southern Magnolia Smiles. They're on Facebook and Instagram at Southern Magnolia Smiles. They're located right here locally on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs. If you're looking for a great local dentist, we highly recommend Dr. Robbie and his team. Check them out, man. They have their regular website is southernmagnoliasmiles.com. And when you're ready to book that appointment, just give them a call at 228-215-1202 and tell them that we sent you. Moving right along, our buddy Jesse over at Hilltree Marketing. If you need a website built for any reason, he's your one-stop local shop to take you from no concept to an award-winning website, all in-house, all right here on the Gulf Coast. Jump over to hilltreemarketing.com and check out some of the other brands that he's worked with, or jump over to brownwaterbanter.com and see what he did for us, because he built our website as well. He's not just a sponsor, he's also somebody that we work with. Hilltreemarketing.com, we highly recommend him. Taylor and Cox Law Firm. That's our buddy Tyler. They've been practicing law in Pascagoula for over 30 years. They come highly recommended from everybody in the field. If you find yourself in need for legal representation for any reason, give them a shout at 228-696-011. They specialize in criminal law, family law, and civil litigation defense, but they can take care of you if you're in the need for an attorney. And we also want to thank Taylor and Cox Law Firm for sponsoring the Brownwater Banter app all the way out to the end of the year. So that was a real big score for us, and we appreciate that. Moving right along, our buddy Rocky Brooks over at Sea to Swamp, man. Look them up on Facebook, Sea, the number 2, and then Swamp. They are your local outdoor apparel shop here located in Gaucher, and then a new location he just opened up in Gulfport. Rocky's got everything you need for a day outdoors, from rods, reels, fishing tackle, apparel, brown water hats, shameless plug. He can do reel repair. He's selling kayaks out of his Gulfport store. I know he's super pumped about that. I've seen him move a couple units here this past few weeks on Facebook. So give him a call. Check him out if you got any questions. It's 228-205-3964, and we appreciate having him on as well. Our buddy Kendrick, man, we had him on a few episodes back. If you're feeling lethargic, you don't have the energy that you need to get off the couch, you can't get back in the gym, overall just feeling like crud, go see Kendrick over at Forever Young Men and Women's Health. He can do some lab work on you and see if it's not a medical issue that you might be dealing with, and see if he can't get you primed back up to the way you used to feel. He specializes in hormone replacement for both men and women. That's testosterone replacement. But he's all encompassing. He says he blends medicine with exercise, and like I said, he treats both men and women. So give him a shout, 228-363-6623, or just look him up. Easiest way to do it, just look him up on Facebook. He's got a lot of testimonials on there. He shares a lot of content. He knows what he's doing online. So Forever Young Men and Women's Health, we appreciate you. And then back in with the politics here, we got Robbie O'Brien, who is running for sheriff in Jackson County. He's running on a ticket of addressing the recruiting and retention problem that we're hearing every time we talk to somebody running that race, even in Harrison County. It's an issue, right? So he's going to address that problem. He's going to increase school and church safety, promote proactive policing efforts, build community relationships, address the increase in crime and drug overdoses, and make decisions based on the interest of the citizens that he serves. So if you want to check him out or know more information about him, jump over to www.o'brienforsheriff.com.
And he'll be on the show next week.
Yes, that's right. Or you can shoot him a text. He's got his phone number here right on the ad for us. So 228-218-1099. And we appreciate having him as a sponsor. And then the gentleman that he's running against, this is John Ledbetter, the current sheriff in Jackson County.
Who was on last night?
He was on yesterday. Yeah, if you haven't checked.
we got the whole crew in here.
If you haven't checked that
Jackson County's
out,
finest,
go check it out and watch that. We just released it. It's on all the platforms, and you can do the audio on your favorite audio platform. But John Ledbetter, current sheriff, he's running on integrity, service, and leadership. 22 years in law enforcement in Jackson County. Like I said, he told us his whole story the other day. He thinks that our community deserves a leader with a track record of integrity and accountability. He supports community leaders, elected officials. He is also pro-Second Amendment and does not
like that.
He told us that yesterday. He's not about any of these red flag laws. He's not coming to take your guns. He believes in a well-armed group of citizens, which we strongly believe in. And he wants your vote on August the 8th. So we appreciate both of those gentlemen for sponsoring the show. And like we've said, August the 8th, you need to get out.
It's almost here.
It's almost here.
The countdown is on.
Which is a great segue into our guest this evening. Randy, man, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great, guys. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Where do we want to talk about first?
I guess we'll start on. It's coming down to the wire, right?
It is.
We got about 2 more weeks.
Within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes,
so tell us about yourself and tell us what you're running for.
So my name's Randy Bosarge. I'm a lifelong resident of Jackson County.
Okay.
Grew up in Pascagoula, and pretty much a long generation of Bosarges in Jackson County.
There's a few of y'all around here.
A few of us.
I might even be related to you, to
probably,
be honest with you.
We're all kin somehow.
Yeah, I'm a Seymour. So
we're all kin somehow is what my grandpa used to say
right.
anyway. But I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Beth. Her and I have been married for 43 years next month.
Ooh,
and we have
a man of commitment right there.
There you go.
We
have strong commitment.
We have 4 beautiful children, 2 girls, 2 boys that are all adults now, with 3 amazing grandkids.
Okay.
Trying to spend as much time with all of them as I can.
Yeah.
And I graduated from Pascagoula High School in 1980, and started my law enforcement career in 1982, the day after I turned 21. In fact, John Ledbetter's grandfather was sheriff at the time.
Okay.
And he's the one that gave me my start in law enforcement.
Sweet.
And so I started out as a reserve deputy, and then in 1985 became a full-time deputy. And then I stayed until 1998, where I left the sheriff's office and ran for sheriff in 1999.
Okay.
So didn't quite make it, came up a little short, but it was all good. Hey,
Yeah.
it was a great experience.
Right.
Running for office is a great experience. And growing up, my father was a contractor, local contractor. So once I decided that my law enforcement career was time to move on.
Right.
So I got into the construction business in 2000, and actually I helped between 98 and 2001. I helped a friend of mine get a security business going. So I helped him get it going, and then finally I said, look, it's time for me to move on, do something else. So in 2000, I went to work for a large construction company, and worked my way up within 5 years to general superintendent. And then I left that company and started my own company in 2005. So,
rough year to start a company.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in construction, though, maybe not.
Well, no, it actually worked out well after the big storm.
Yeah.
There was
Had
plenty
a lot of work.
A lot of work, plenty of work. So we got started there and just been doing great ever since. So, but I've served on multiple state and local boards. In 2012, Governor Bryant appointed me to the Mississippi Home Corporation, which is one of the largest agencies in the state that oversees a lot of housing and
Right.
apartment buildings and stuff for in the state with financing and stuff like that. And then in 2008, I was appointed to the Jackson County Utility Authority, where I served until 2015 as a member of the board. Utility Authority is different from the Board of Supervisors. It's its own agency. So it's legislated just like the Board of Supervisors, and they run their own service. So,
and that's power, water.
No, that's just water and sewer.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they treat all the sewer for the cities and a couple other utility entities, but the main thing they do is they do retail water and sewer and treat sewer. So, and then they do have a wholesale water system too. So yeah. So,
that's each county has one of those.
Yeah. Well, so after Katrina, there was some money sent to the coast for all 6 coastal counties to start their own utility authorities, so that the unincorporated north ends of most counties that didn't have waters and sewer, they were able to put the infrastructure in to tie into for the future, so that people would have an option to move off south of I-10 and move north of I-10 and still have water and sewer availabilities.
Is that like the one on Seaman Road?
Yep.
By the landfill, that water treatment plant?
That's actually a sewer treatment plant.
Okay.
Yeah, sewer treatment plant. And it was built in the late 80s, early 90s. And it's actually it's a natural treatment plant. And what it does is the waste, when it's separated, the water gets treated by running through a series of lagoons that filter the water with natural vegetation, and then as it gets to the end, it's treated, and then it's sprinkled throughout the
they got
facility.
sprayers. Yeah,
they got sprinklers, and then they bale the hay once every now and then when they need it to, and then they sell the hay for water retention and stuff like that. You can't sell it for
livestock.
animal consumption, but you can sell it to use everywhere else, and they're able to sell it for a better price. Than you don't want to go buy good hay to feed your animals to use for water retention.
Right.
So you go buy that, and it works out.
That's
well.
impressive.
They need to get into the Canadian geese selling. That's what they need to get into. Dude, you seen the flocks of Canadian geese in that place? Good Lord.
They stop there and feed a little bit.
Yeah.
So there you go. Because of course those lagoons have the nutrients and and some food and stuff for them to eat. So so it works out pretty good.
Are they protected around here? Because they shouldn't be.
I
don't
know.
No, but across the street, the Sand Hill Crane, that's a whole different ballgame.
I mean, they swarm my yard. The Canadian geese.
Yes.
Don't get me started on the Sand Hill Crane.
But the Canadian geese aren't very good to eat. Right. They're not very good to eat.
That's probably why they're
now, I've heard Sand Hill Crane are delicious.
I've heard. I don't know.
I've heard they're delicious.
Got a friend of mine in Texas that says there's a season on them out there.
Oh, yeah.
But around here, we protect them.
Yeah, you can't even touch them.
With over 40,000 viable acres of Jackson County property.
That's right.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
So it's awesome. But now it's been great. In 2015, I decided I would run for supervisor, and after a lot of friends of mine encouraged me to do it. And one of the jobs I had while I worked at the sheriff's office was I worked for about 12 years part-time at Sing River Hospital. So I worked in the construction department for a couple of years, and then in 1991 I helped start the armed security division. So they always had regular security, but we started an armed security division, and we had a lot of deputies and other police officers working there part-time. So I worked there till 2001 part-time as armed security. So a lot of those people got to be my friends, and over a period of time, a lot of them came to me when they were having all the issues with the hospital back in 2013, 14.
About the retirement and all that stuff.
So, and they said, man, we need you to do this. And so I did it, and got in there, jumped in there. And of course, the incumbent that I ran against was, he'd been in there for 4 terms. And so I just jumped in there and said, okay, guys, with y'all's support and the good Lord above, we're going to make a run for it and see what happens. And we won. So since I've been in office, we've been able to, pretty much not raise taxes in 7 years. And so I'm a very, even back in my sheriff's office days, I did some of the budgeting and for my division and stuff like that. And so, I've always been pretty strict about working within your means, so like this year, perfect example is we've got $5 million worth of requests and $2 million worth of new money. So if y'all can tell me how that works, I'll take any suggestion. But there's going to be a couple of upset people because they probably not going to get what they want.
Is Jackson County like the federal government? Can you just print money?
Just make some more.
I tell you what, I wish we could.
Just print it. I mean, that's what's easy.
Just print it.
Just
there
print
you go.
it.
That's what I say.
See how that works.
But it don't work well for the federal government.
It does not. No, it's not.
That's why.
It doesn't work well for the average citizen. The federal government's still fine. It's the average citizen.
They're still getting paid where we're paying.
That's right.
They're still getting taxes on the printed money. So it's very confusing.
So I try to make sure my vote's always for the people. I'm a very, people person. So, always have been. And, if somebody comes to me with a concern, I do everything I can
right
within the law to take care of it. Like I tell people, I worked at the jail. I'm not going to jail for nobody.
I know what that food tastes like. I ain't going back.
No. So, but I always try to treat the people like I want to be treated. That's just when I was a deputy sheriff, I did the same thing. I always wanted to treat people like I want to be treated. And I never really, got tough with anybody unless they got tough with me.
Right.
And then, hey, there comes a point where you got to stand up for yourself.
That's right.
But we've done a lot of great things in Jackson County, District 5. We got a lot of great things going on, and hopefully we'll have some more things happening. So.
How have y'all been able to keep taxes, like you said, in 7 years, you said,
yep.
not raising them?
Yeah. Just by taking and working within your means.
Okay.
And we've been able to give a 3% employee raise every year for 7 years, and we're probably going to give another one this year
to county
workers.
Okay.
Yeah, there's over 700 county workers.
Okay.
So we've been able to do that and stay within the guidelines of what we I don't like to spend more than I take in. Some people do, but I don't.
Now, property taxes went up this year, are going to go up next year, right?
No, so there'll probably be a slight increase depends on what happens. We get reappraised in 2025.
Okay.
So in 2025 there could be. Now what we've done in the past is we've offset the millage to try to offset the increase. So, but you can only offset the millage so much, because what happens is if you offset the millage more than a half a mil or a mil,
mm-hmm.
then your industries become the big winner, because that's less money they're going to pay to the county. Okay. So somewhere along the line, you have to kind of justify what you're going to cut in order to keep the same money coming in from the industries and not being piled up on us as taxpayers.
And that's Ingalls, that's Chevron,
all the pipelines that run through here. Any industry that we have, we have several industries here that just have pipelines running through here that we get taxes on. And then you got Mississippi Power, Plant Daniel up there and stuff
mm-hmm.
like that. So we've got 60% of our taxes our budget's about $150 million a year is what it takes to run this county. Well, about 60% of that comes from industry.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Less than 40% comes from actual
taxpayers,
right. Property owners, ad valorem tags, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
60% of that comes from the industry we have. And so, you have to be very, restrictive, mindful, whatever you want to call it, when it comes time for tax exemptions, because, if you exempt too many taxes, then in the long run, you're not, the citizens are not winning. They're actually losing.
You're talking about for industry.
Yeah. For industry. Correct.
Right.
So you have to really be mindful of what you're doing.
You want to bring them in.
You want to bring
tax
them in.
Exemption looks good,
right.
But you can't bring all of them in.
And you don't want to give up everything. It's like I told an industry a while back. I said, look, guys, you need us more than we need you, because you need our deep water. And so, but I'm not going to give that away,
mm-hmm.
So we're going to negotiate this, and if you're willing to pay a little bit more, then I'm willing to help you out, but I'm not going to let you have it for nothing, because we could have another company come in here that would be willing to pay more taxes for that deep water. And see, in Jackson County, we have something that nobody else has. We not only have one, we have 2 deep water ports.
Mm-hmm.
And so that don't take a lot of maintenance to keep them at 40 or 50 foot channels for the ships to come in and out. So, I just can't give that away.
Right.
So
it's prime property.
It's prime property, and so, if you want to come to Jackson County and prosper, I want my people to prosper too. I want my citizens to prosper. So, there's a balance there. You can usually negotiate. Of course, they're like everybody else. They come in wanting to pay nothing.
Right.
And then we say, pay this. And then
you meet in the middle.
Well, sometimes I meet more than the middle. So I usually
better.
Don't meet in the middle.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, as long as it's for us, I'm good with
it. Those are the things that people may not realize that supervisors do here for the county. So I'm glad to hear that kind of behind the veil. What y'all do.
We have a great economic development group and we have a great group at the Port Authority, and we work in conjunction with them to bring in the industries.
Mm-hmm.
And so, perfect example is Sunplex, right down the road here.
Yeah. Justin was there.
Justin was there. And Justin called me, and he said, "Hey, Randy, look, the money y'all are asking for that lot's a little too high. I can't make it work in my budget, but here's what I'm willing to pay." And I said, "Well, Justin, how much of an investment are you going to make?" He says, "About $10 million. I said, "Well, I think we can make that work." Yeah. I said, "Now, are you going to ask for a tax exemption?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to ask for one, but I don't need a big one." I said, "Man, me and you's going to work well together."
Yeah, there you go. Like you say, you lower here, don't give everything away there. It's part of it. It's a business deal.
And I said, "How many employees you going to have?" He says, "Over 200. He said, "But Randy, I don't pay $10 or $11 an hour. I pay $18 to $20 an hour,
right,
with benefits." And I'm like, "You're the guy we want. Come on, man. Let me make this happen." So Justin and I worked together, and we worked with the economic development. We were able to get American Bait Works to break ground out there. And a lot of people don't know this, but Harrison County was trying to give them a 10-acre site, give it to them for free. But him being from Jackson County, he really wanted to be in Jackson County. So I said, "Man, we're going to make this happen. I don't care if I got to give you the money to do it. We're going to make this happen."
And what a nice facility it turned out to be.
It's huge.
We walked through a little bit of it, not the whole thing, and I've driven by it 1,000 times, and it's nice.
Well, same thing happened with Superior Optical. So several years ago, Superior Optical was bought out by some guys in Tampa. And they didn't really know Jackson County, but they come here, and rumor had it, they were considering moving the whole thing to Tampa. So me and one of the economic development folks found out about it, and we said we made an appointment with them. We went and saw them. Mm-hmm. I said, "Hey, look, guys, what would it take to keep y'all here?" And they had already told us they were going to have to expand and everything. So said, "Well, we need more property." "Man, no problem. Which property you want?" "Well, we want the property next door." And I said, "Well, okay, I can make that happen." Mm-hmm. The guy that happens to own that piece of property is a good friend of mine, and he's been talking about retiring forever. Mm-hmm. That's his retirement. So we were able to negotiate. Well, the bid, I hooked those two up, and they ended up negotiating. And about 2 months later, they had a contract.
Boom.
And my guy retires, and and he's all happy, and so Superior Optical made a $12 million investment, and we were able to keep them and brought in about 300 plus employees, and they pay $18, $20, $22 an hour. So and with full benefits. Yeah. So that's just some of the things a supervisor does. My focus has always been, on economic development, trying to make these roads the best we can make them. Mm-hmm. Drainage is always an issue. I mean, look, there's going to be drainage issues before I got in office, while I'm in office, and after I get out of office, there'll still be drainage issues. There's just always will be.
Right.
So and there'll always be road issues. Those kind of infrastructure things are always behind the 8 ball. Mm-hmm. So as you got to have growth, but when growth comes, then you got to grow with it, Right. But you can't grow ahead of growth, because you got to have the people coming in to generate the money to have the growth.
We had kind of like what's going on behind this building right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Big growth.
Big growth.
Yeah.
Oh, look, that road there is not only an evacuation route, the new Highway 57.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge game changer for development along this corridor here, because and look, there's probably going to be some people that own property that don't realize it now. They might be zoned residential, and they're going to be able to get zoned commercial,
right?
And
boom,
commercial pays more than residential does. So you can sell
worth.
Your property for more than So
I think the only complaint I've heard is just the old school. Yep. Van Cleve's holding on to old school little tiny Van Cleve.
There's always that.
There's always between how much do we want to be and how big do we want to get? And it's that's part of it, I guess.
That's part of it, and thank God Jackson County has had at least 2% growth every year. Mm-hmm. Because if we don't have at least 2% growth, we look. Your power bill goes up, our power bill goes up, but our power bill goes up way more than yours.
Population growth?
Yeah, population growth.
Okay, yeah.
So
bigger tax base.
Bigger tax base, but you've always got increases every year. So you need the new growth to help offset. Instead of raising taxes,
Correct.
you need the growth to
Correct.
help offset the new expenses.
And so you're talking there, people increase in population.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you a second ago, Lieutenant Governor Hosen was on not too long ago, and he was raving about the Gulf Coast, and every dollar spent down here yields 10 back to to the state. How do y'all as supervisors down here in Jackson County attract big businesses or businesses that may not know about us down here? Is that the economic development team that you mentioned? Do y'all send out information, literature, like to attract people down here?
They do. Like, so just about every day, if not every other day,
right,
we get inquiries from large site companies, companies that are paid to site industry. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get direct industry inquiries to the Jackson County. You can pull up, like you did earlier, pull up Jackson County, you can see everything.
Right.
Everything we offer is online now. So we usually have some direct contact with industry or the site companies. Well, let me tell you, everybody knows where Jackson County, Mississippi is because of Ingalls Shipyard and Chevron. And one of my sayings, and Jackson County's been doing fantastic in the last several years. We even were growing during COVID. I don't know how many people or other areas can tell you they were growing during COVID. We were growing during COVID, so we hadn't, the pedal's still been on the metal for forever.
Right.
So like right now, perfect example is Ingalls Shipyard needs over 2,000 employees right now.
Yeah.
And they've got a 10-year backlog. So that's 2,000 plus employees for the next 10 years. They know they can employ, they need them. Our other couple of little shipyards, they need employees, and so we probably need about 3,000 employees right now in Jackson County. We just don't have a place to put them. Seriously, we can't build houses fast enough.
Well, God knows they're doing it,
and they're trying to do it.
Every time I turn around, there's another neighborhood coming up. I'm like, really? Interest rates are going up, and we're still just building.
Just building houses.
I mean, that's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, I was talking to an apartment guy several weeks ago, and he's already built. He's on his third apartment complex right now, and the other two are already like within weeks after he opened them. There's a waiting list. Mm-hmm. So that's how much we need housing in this county. But at the same time, it has to be smart housing. It can't be, look, people get mad at me sometimes, but it can't be a $2 subdivision. It's got to be something nice, and I have developers or builders that'll call me and say, hey man, look, I know how you build, and so I don't want you.
Wow.
Unless you're willing to come in here and build something nice. And where our area will look nice 10 and 20 years from now, then I'll support you.
And when you say developers, you're talking like residential stuff like that, and they're maybe wanting a change in the land zoning. Thank you. That's the word I couldn't come up with. Yeah, zoning. And you're like, no, we're not getting it there.
No. Wow. Okay. For me, it's about the surrounding area. So if you've got a surrounding area that has bigger lots, then that's what I'm going to support is the bigger lots. Now, if you have another area over here that has the smaller lots and it's conducive with what's there, then I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, I want a certain type house built to where in 10 or 20 years it still looks good.
Right.
It don't look run down or anything like that.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Because then that keeps people here.
Yeah. It keeps people here.
Right.
Property values up, everything.
Values are up and everything. So it's we've got, like going back to the jobs, we will train you for free to be a welder, pipe fitter through the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College or even the Ingalls Training Center and stuff. They will pay you and train you for free to go to work for them. What better deal is that? Right. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome.
But kids still won't go to work.
They don't do it.
What am I missing, Randy? Tell me what I'm missing, please.
Well, I'll tell you, my two sons are both computer engineers.
Okay.
So
that's work, though.
That's work.
It's a different kind of work, but it's work.
Different kind of work.
Well, I don't care what it is, as long as it's work.
Right.
If you're sitting around talking about you can't get work.
But but they stay busy at what they do, but they're not out in the weather. And I think that's what most people want. They don't want to be out in the weather.
And that's not really a problem, because then we've talked about it on the show 1,000 times. It brings the wage for the blue collar jobs up, and it just does. It's how it is. But I guess getting those people to do that, right, is the kicker.
Especially on days like today.
Right. I don't blame them on days like today.
Like talking about Sunplex earlier, there's 2 more businesses that are coming in out there. One of them just opened, Respitec, and they're a company that does a lot of environmental testing.
Mm-hmm.
So their wages are like, almost 6 figures, but they only have about 20 employees, but that was a $3 million investment right there.
Yeah.
And then the one we were really looking forward to is Mississippi State is going to bring in a food research facility into Sunplex, and that's going to be over a $20 million investment.
We've talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know they were doing that, but we talked about when we had the smokehouse jerky on.
We talked about the one that was in Starkville.
Correct.
Yes.
But so I would assume it's probably in line with what you're talking about, right?
So
a lot of dairy, cheese, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, what they're going to do is so it's a neat concept. So you have University of Southern Mississippi that's going to be out in the Gulf growing it better, replenishing it better. And then it's going to come into this facility and they're going to make it taste better. And make it go further.
Growing what in the Gulf?
Like crabs and shrimp.
Okay. So I guess this is going to be their coast division.
Yeah.
Where that's the Starkville division.
And then they're going to make crabs taste better?
That's what they
say. Are we ready for that? I don't think we're ready for that.
Are we ready?
No, we're not ready for that. Already tastes too good now.
It's going to explode.
Yeah, we don't. You got to get rid of that.
But these are all pretty much PhD jobs.
Right.
So,
the research. So you invest $20 million and then you've got these salaries coming. Man, come on. That's what you want. You really, and some of these industries might get mad at me, but they're not here anymore. So I don't like the polluters.
Right.
I want the clean companies. And so these are all clean companies coming here. And so, you get away from the polluters and your area smells good and looks good. And so, but you have enough salaries to support those other salaries that you lose.
So. But there was a lot of those older companies in Pascagoula that, the paper plant, all that, you knew when you crossed that bridge.
Yeah, you knew
you could smell it. You know what I'm saying? It was tough.
Growing up in Pascagoula, let me tell you, that was, people used to say, "How do you stand that smell? What smell?"
I'm used to it.
It's all burnt up in here. It's burnt out.
I'm used to it.
We've mentioned it too on the show here. I mean, Mississippi and Jackson County still too, I think, has a relatively low cost of living when you compare it to other, places. I mean, the South in general, I guess, does overall, but it's a great way to attract business, I would assume. And is that part of y'all's pitch?
Part of the pitch is we try to keep the taxes as low as we can. There's some taxes we don't have any jurisdiction over. Hey, they are what they are. Mm-hmm. Car tags, that's pretty much up to the state to delegate all that.
And then Jackson County's actually come down. In car tax, because I remember when I bought my first car and I compared it to Harrison County, I was like, what the?
Yeah.
And now I just bought my truck 2-3 years ago and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? So
it's all based on how you present yourself. And I have a saying, and the economic development director likes me to say it after every meeting. But there's Jackson County, and then there's everybody else that wants to be like Jackson County.
Okay,
and that's my saying for Jackson County. And call me a homer. I'm a homer. I love this county.
Yeah.
I've had opportunities to go elsewhere, and I'm not going. My wife and kids laugh at me all the time. I said, "Dad, they ain't gonna never be able to pry you out of Jackson County." I said, "You're right. You're not."
Yeah.
I love it here.
We had some reconstruction, right, for the districts.
Yeah.
And they went to explain that to us.
So what happened was in the 2020 census, not only did Jackson County grow in population from the 2010 census, but what happened was the former District 5 boundaries had grew to like almost 35,000 people. Okay, so when you take the population, the new population, and you divide it by 5, you're only supposed to have about 28,500, 600, something like that. So myself and District 4 were both in the 30s. All right. And it's only, hey, look, the west side of this county, and I call the west side 57 West.
Okay.
And the west side of this county has been growing, pretty good clip for the last 10 years. So what happened was the east side of the county, your couple of cities over there and stuff had lost population.
Mm-hmm.
So what they had to do is they had to move boundary lines around to get the populations to work. And so that's how they got me down to about 28,600 now, 700.
Okay.
Like that.
So you had to get the population down and your square footage shrunk? See, I was under the assumption that you grew, your district grew.
No, well, it looks like it grew, but it looks like a flag, you know. So
it's weird. And it's cut in half.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I lost. So
put up there. We'll flash that thing.
Yep.
It's you got Gulf Park Estates,
right,
Van Cleve,
right,
Latimer, pretty much.
I've always had I had about 60% of the city limits of Ocean Springs. Well, now that's down to about 20, and then Gulf Park Estates, Fountain Blue area, and then you go North Ocean Springs area, and then you go across I-10. And I always had the South Van Cleve area in my old District 5, but what they did is they moved me west, north of I-10, south of Jim Ramsey, Joe Batt, moved me west all the way to the county line.
You can see it there. I just zoomed in, so there's a little bit of delay.
Actually, I probably have less square mileage than I had before.
And you are what color on this map?
I'm the blue line right there where it looks like a hammer. I call it a hammer or a flag.
So you're the orange color though.
Orange and yellow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that one area that's recessed down up there, that used to be my area, but they had to take that away too.
Okay, so as the legend shows here, District 1 is the blue.
Right. District
Okay.
1. District
The
1
red
now goes all the way to the county line. So that
Good
yellow.
Lord.
Yeah.
But that's a bunch of that's most of the river though, right?
Well, there's not a lot of population. in that,
Yeah.
so the
barely
area
got
is larger.
28,000 people.
Right. And then you got the red is District 2.
Yeah.
Then the green here is District 3.
And District 3 grew. That's the old map there. So what you got there is.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought it said adopted 2022 though, huh?
Yeah, that's not right. Well, the blue lines, what you see in the blue lines.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
So everything you see.
Now I'm on board. I didn't know why you said the orange and the yellow was you, but now
I
that
got
makes
you.
more
Yeah.
sense.
But it's the blue lines. Yeah.
Okay.
So District 3 grew, took probably 20% of my old area, and then 20 to 30% of my old area, and then I lost a big chunk of the city limits of Ocean Springs, and then 4 dropped down to St. Martin and the city, about 80% of the city limits of Ocean Springs. So,
but now you're more over into Latimer area.
area.
That's where Joey and I are at.
Yeah.
I've got the majority of the Sandhill Crane Refuge. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'm overseeing about 100 birds.
There you go. There you go.
Well, it's weird because
I hope your veterinary science is up to snuff.
Yeah, according to that map, you got Ocean Springs High School, Van Cleve, and St. Martin.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't have St. Martin High School, but I'm like bordered.
Right.
I border it. You
right.
know, so yeah.
So it's a lot. That's a big, diverse group of people.
Yeah. So and it's steadily growing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
do you wear your 3 hats everywhere you go? You ever
Man,
mess up and wear a Van Cleve hat in Ocean Springs? It's like,
the neat thing about Van Cleve and Ocean Springs is the same color.
Yeah,
that blue.
That. Yeah.
So it's easy to keep that going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I have to spend a lot of time between both schools. So I try to make sure I do advertising in both schools, and both schools made sure I had ball caps and jerseys and stuff like that. So.
I work for Singing River Hospital.
Okay.
I'm over at the Gulfport location. I was in Pascagoula for a while. So what's your take on the hospital systems? You know,
so
that's been a big issue.
It's been a big issue. And so what a lot of people don't understand about the hospital is that the county, the taxpayers own the property. Okay. We own all the property and the buildings that the hospital sits on. All right. But the way the law is set up, the hospital is run by the board of trustees that we appoint.
Correct.
So, but the way it operates is that we're not supposed to have any influence on the board of trustees. Okay. They're supposed to be able to run it. But a lot of times, you know, it's a fine line, you know, because I get a lot of the phone calls that they don't get. Okay. Mm-hmm. And people complain about the hospital or this or being treated or whatever. And so I try to do my best to me being a former employee of the hospital, I know my way around, you know, so So, but the thing that disturbed me the most when I was running in 2015 was the retirement plan, because I've got a lot of friends that are retired, and they depend on that. And so what happened was when I saw that it could be a possibility that the hospital couldn't make that payment, I'm like, man, we got to sell that hospital so that we can make sure that payment is made. Okay. So, and look, it has nothing to do with the workers. We have some of the best employees around.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And some of the management is on track, but there is just a few areas that need to be tweaked. And the only areas that can be tweaked is in my opinion, is going to be by a new owner, you know? So, and then when I first got in office, the bond debt was over $80 million in bond debt. Okay. Now the hospital don't back those bonds. Us as citizens, we back those bonds, and those bonds are backed with a $5 million pledge that you don't see right now. Okay. So what happens is, if the hospital got down the road and something happened, they couldn't make the bond payment, the board of supervisors under contract has to turn right around and do a $5 million pledge from all the citizens. And we got to collect $5 million of taxes to pay the bond debt. And I just feel like
that don't sound cool.
That's not cool. And that's debt that the citizens, number one, most of them don't even know about. But number two is it shouldn't be their responsibility. You know? So during COVID, we ran into some issues, and thank God some of it got paid and stuff. But they have a monthly payment for the retirement debt, and then they have a monthly payment for the bond debt. And so what happens is, if you get down the road and say 3 to 5 years, healthcare goes down the tubes, then somebody's got to make those payments. And I am not going to be responsible for the citizens of this county to make those payments. I'm just not going to do that. So the board finally decided to put it out for bid, and let's see what we can get. I mean, in 2015, the hospital system really wasn't worth that much because of all the debt.
Right.
Over the years, we've been able to pay some of the debt down. And so we said last year, let's put it out for bid and let's see what we can do with it. And so got some great bids in, and whittled them down to 2 and picked one. And we do have a backup bid. And so, but we picked one, and we're negotiating with them, and there would be enough money if it sells for what we got the bid for. There'll be enough money to fully pay off the retirement fund, and there'll be enough money to pay off the bonds. And then that way, taxpayers are free and clear, free and clear. And the county itself doesn't have 20 million maybe in bonds. We don't have that much. So the county, the county in general would be pretty much debt free, and so I always say I try to run Jackson County like a business. I call it Jackson County Incorporated, and us, the citizens, we're the main supporters of through our taxes, but it's up to us to make sure we keep our taxes spent correctly, so that we don't have to ever come back to our shareholders and ask them for more money. So we have a service that we provide to our citizens, our shareholders. And so we try to do that to the best of our abilities. And, sometimes it gets a little heated, because others want this and others want that. But, at the end of the day, you try to work within your means, and you try to make sure that you make as many people happy as you can. You ain't gonna make everybody happy.
Right.
Right.
So, but you try to make everybody as happy as you can.
Now that decision to sell, that came from the hospital board first, then to y'all, or do y'all solely made that decision?
Well, we kind of did it together.
Okay.
And so, look, it's nothing just for me. I don't speak for the other board members, but just for me, it was nothing that they were doing wrong. It's just when you see a forecast for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, healthcare is turmoil.
And you got Medicare wanting to pay less. You got your major insurers that are wanting to pay less, but yet it's like everything else.
Costs is going up.
Costs are going up, and so when our cost goes up $1, theirs is going up $25. You see what I'm saying? So it's because you do more. It's kind of like the county. My home insurance might go up $100, but the county's is going up $100,000.
Right.
You know, so you gotta make all that work somehow. You know, so and I never want to have to come and ask for more tax money. You know, I want to try to always, but economic development can be, which it is now, but we're one of few counties that 60% of our revenue comes from industrial taxes.
Relieving the taxpayer from that bond debt that you talk about. Does that free up county money in the budget and help moving forward? Right, that's a payment we're making every month that we will no longer
we don't
do?
The hospital makes that payment, but we guarantee it.
Okay.
So it gets us out of that guarantee.
Gotcha.
You know, and man, I don't know about y'all, but I
yeah,
don't like being on the hook for that kind of money. I mean, it's about 50 something million in bonds, and it's over $60 million it's owed to the retirement plan. So if we sell this hospital for what we got an offer on, we got more than enough to pay all that off.
That's still being
in the works.
Cross the T's and dotting I's.
Yeah, they're still doing their due diligence and and the finance stuff and all that stuff. So so if you don't need something, don't buy it. You know, no, I'm just don't spend any more money.
Recycle all you can. Reuse your bacon grease.
Reuse your.
That's just what I wanted to hear today.
Reuse anything, any supplies you can reuse. No, I'm just thinking.
I'm calling you if there's a problem.
But no, it's we're in the due diligence phase, and we're hoping within the next couple of months we'll have our final contract signed, and then we're probably looking at a closing in December, probably.
Okay. That's what I kind of had heard.
Well, and one of the reasons why is because the current hospital employees, your insurance it goes by the year, okay, but the hospital finances go by the fiscal year, which is September, October. So what happens is if we were to sell the hospital in October to make the fiscal year, then your insurance wouldn't be covered for October to December. You would have to pay
until the new company took
over. So what we decided to do was we would extend this out to December to where all the current hospital employees are covered through December, and then the new company buys it, then y'all have to work out a deal with them.
That makes sense.
Now in our negotiations with this company, they have to keep current employees that they can't just go in there and start firing everybody. Now that don't mean that they might come in and say, hey, look, you're doing this job right now, but we don't really need this job. We need you in this job.
Right.
And so, there might be some shifting of responsibilities, but they're, in fact, they told us that they see that the current hospital system is like hundreds short. So they would have to go on pretty much a hiring spree once they maneuver the current employees around and do all. But they said, look, unless somebody just gets mad at us and don't want to work for us and leaves, we're not going to be getting rid of nobody. They just might not be doing same job. Yeah. So.
Shifting gears a little bit. Right. Is there I don't know, you maybe have heard this too before. Anybody talks of annexation in Jackson County?
Yeah,
especially Ocean Springs.
Ocean Springs.
Yeah. And I don't know a ton about it as far as whys, the hows, and the shouldas. Yeah. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm totally against it.
Okay.
And it's because here's the question I ask you: whether you live in annexation proposed area or not, do you want to pay more taxes?
Right.
There you go.
Exactly.
So,
I don't.
Nobody wants to pay more taxes. And the majority of the people in my district has said, look, y'all do a fantastic job at what you do. And the county takes care of us, and we're good with that. So really, the city doesn't have anything to offer us other than some more tax money that they want. And so I said, I hear you. And so I convinced the board to hire an attorney to represent us and fight in the annexation. Yeah. So we're gonna fight the annexation and one of the areas I really don't want in the city is Sunplex. I want the Sunplex to stay county controlled.
You would lose the tax base, right, or the tax income?
No, we would still get the tax income, but we wouldn't be able. Our negotiations would be kind of limited, because the city would have a say in it too when it comes to tax exemptions.
Lose some authority in it. Yeah.
So in my opinion, there's nothing for the city to gain by annexing Sunplex because there's hardly any sales tax revenue. And the current companies in there, if you don't give them some kind of tax exemption, then they could leave.
Yeah, there we go.
So what's there to gain? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, leave it like it is. And And of course, you've got a lot of big subdivisions on North Ocean Springs Road that, $500,000 and up houses that are like, hey, man, I want to stay in the county because I don't want to have to pay more taxes on a $500,000 and up home,
right.
And get no more
value
services,
right?
Seriously. So
I think the big thing was the high school.
Yeah.
High school's in Jackson County, right? It's not in Ocean Springs.
And there's a lot of areas like that. So there's a lot of areas that throughout this state that have grown, and there a new school might not be in the city limits. It might be, but it's still in the school district.
Well, it's like D'Iberville. D'Iberville's got a Biloxi address.
They got a Biloxi. Yeah, exactly. They're not even in the city limits.
That's right.
So it's I get sometimes why they want to do it because they want to say it's in the city limits, but at this point, who cares?
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like it's still in the Ocean Springs School District, so who cares?
Right.
So we don't seem to have any issues with people going to school there.
They get there every day.
They're actively trying to get into that school.
Number one in
no
the
matter
state.
where.
Top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you another school though that's getting close to Ocean Springs is St. Martin.
Yeah.
St. Martin's growing at a pretty fast pace right now, and so it's probably 100 students from what I've been told, about 100 students from matching Ocean Springs.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jackson County has a lot of great. We have a lot of great school districts. All of our school districts are fantastic, and they do a great job at what they do. And even though the Board of Supervisors doesn't have any control over the school districts,
right.
They have their own boards. They do their own thing, but we assist them any which way we can, and with various projects when we can and stuff like that. So we just. We're always trying to help, unfortunately it comes down to money.
Yeah. Everything does.
So everything comes down to money.
For sure.
I had a guy ask me that one time. He says, well, Mr. Bosarge, it always seems to come down to money. And I said, yeah, it does.
Welcome to being an adult, sir.
Yeah. So, it's like I had a phone call earlier about a road expansion. And it's like, we're trying to find the money to do that, and I get it. I know we need it, but it's hard to find the money to do that. And we've been fortunate over the last several years because the state has had some more monies come in that from taxes that they didn't anticipate. So they've been sharing it with a lot of the counties and cities around the state. And Jackson County has prospered from that, so we've gotten some projects that, we didn't know where we get the money for. Perfect example is the big bridge on Wade Van Cleve Road.
They just got done a couple months ago.
So the little one did.
Okay.
Now we're fixing to bid out the big one, but the big one is over $20 million. And
what is that? Lotto taxes? Is that what?
So and what happened was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when our engineers said, look, that bridge is about at 60%. Efficiency. Once it gets down in the 40s, we're going to have to close it, or we're going to have to restrict the traffic that goes across it. And that's a main thoroughfare going through there. So we're thinking, where are we going to come up with the money, because that's a county bridge. It's not a state bridge. It's a county bridge. So we were going to have to borrow the money to do it. And we were going to have to figure out a way not to raise taxes to pay for it. So one thing led to another, and then the lottery money kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
So the first $80 million of the lottery money goes into what they call the Emergency Bridge and Road Fund.
Yeah, okay? Infrastructure.
Yeah. So guess who was one of the first counties to apply for some of that money? Jackson County.
He was down there knocking on a door.
Guess
who needs a bridge?
Guess who got $20 million of the $80 million? Jackson County. So now we don't have to pass that along to the taxpayers. It's like I told a group of people the other day, they were talking about the bridge and stuff and being mad about it, once you shut it down. I said, but look at it like this, guys. So it's not being paid for with local taxpayer money. It's being paid for by lottery money. So think about this. When we do open it after, 2 years, probably it'll be shut down. When you're driving over it, you can say, well, if I didn't buy lottery tickets, I didn't help pay for it. So what the heck?
Right.
But if I buy lottery tickets, I help pay for this bridge.
That's right.
There you have it.
And had a chance to win.
And got a chance to
So
win.
go buy scratch off.
Yeah. I think
Keep
it's up to
running, scratch it off.
990 million right now.
Yeah.
isn't it? That's something crazy.
That's it.
Well,
So-
you definitely sound like you got a grasp on what's going on.
Oh, look, man,
for
look,
sure.
yeah,
What about moving forward?
Yeah.
So moving forward, we'll still focus on economic development, and
Okay.
we'll still focus on drainage. We'll still focus on roads. I mean, we have a recreational program that we did a while back. We had a survey done, and we had some engineering done, and of course, to do all the recreational needs we need in this county was about $30 million. So it ain't going to happen,
Right.
All
at
about
once.
money.
So we're going to have to do it in phases.
You talking
but
parks and stuff like
parks,
that?
and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
upgrading what we have. Yeah.
Okay.
So and we have about a dozen plus facilities in this county, recreational facilities. Now we have 3 big ones, the one here in Van Cleve, the one in St. Martin, and one in East Central. But we have a lot of small ones too that we take care of too. So there, our report that we had done said we needed about $30 million to make the necessary improvements, to get them up to date. Well, we'll be a while getting them up to date.
I think that's one of the things
Yeah.
people may
Yeah.
look at and say, okay, we don't really need that. I
Right.
mean, it'd be nice,
Right.
but if we got to not
Yeah.
do something,
Right.
I'd rather have the bridge,
Right.
regardless of how you got it paid
Right.
for.
So it don't
than
fall
that.
down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
I can walk around the block.
right.
Yeah, we need that bridge,
Yeah.
So and I would rather take the heat for it being shut down and people having to go around than I would it got shut down by the state and everybody say, well, why didn't you do something about that
Yeah.
bridge? before
Or
it got shut down?
or it collapsed. Somebody died on
Yeah.
it.
That's
Yeah.
worse too.
Heaven forbid that happen.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those situations that was like you can't please everybody because you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you
Well,
don't fix it and
yeah.
it gets shut down, everybody's mad.
Yeah.
And if you do shut it down to get it fixed, everybody's like, man, what's going on?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So,
So that's going to be a no-win situation until it's done.
so it's done.
Right.
Then
And
you
then
get to
everybody's
bask
happy.
in the glory.
Yeah, everybody's happy. Just like this new Highway 57 out
Right.
here.
Right.
It's a pain in the butt. Believe me, I drive up to Van Cleve every day, and those dump trucks and all the
Mhm.
equipment stuff. It's a pain in the run. But in about 5 years, we're gonna have a clear run. You won't get stuck in school traffic or shopping
Yeah.
center traffic and all that stuff. You'll be able to zip right up that road.
You'll be able to land a C-130 out here,
Yeah.
I think. the way it
For
looks.
sure.
And get out of the way of a storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Get out of here during a storm for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
So,
important.
What's your biggest concern going forward for Jackson County?
Really just keeping taxes, level,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to work within our means, and that's my main concern is just making sure that the growth don't overtake us, and so because there could be a time when like in some of your bigger cities, the growth has overtaken the infrastructure,
Okay.
and so they can't keep up with it fast enough. So luckily ours is on a good path, and we've been able to keep up with it infrastructure wise.
Do you have 605 off exit 50? Is that
Yeah,
you?
going north,
Not south.
not
Yeah.
south, not
Who
south.
can we talk to about that?
Well, that
So
project's fixing to start.
that project fixing to start.
See,
So-
I've seen them start doing like drainage work,
Yeah.
but can you speak on that just a little bit?
So what's going to happen? They're actually that's going to be a main thoroughfare. I forgot what they call it now. Not a blue way, but I forgot. Anyway, what it's going to do is it's going to get rid of all the ditches. It's going to put sidewalks down through there, and then there's going to be some controlled median. There won't be that suicide lane that runs from one end to the
Pretty
other.
bad.
There'll be some, now of course there's going to be some people complaining, well, I can't turn to get here, I might have to go down to the next one and make a U-turn. But for safety reasons, they're going to put some grass medians in to try to keep that road from being
Kind of like they did on 49.
yeah, kind of like they did on 49
Okay.
because they
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot
And
of wrecks out there.
Yeah.
y'all just did that too with the cut through from the new Cook Road expansion
Yep.
going to
Yep.
Tucker.
Yep.
I noticed that. I'm like, man, why is there all this grass median instead of having you calling it a suicide turn?
Yeah, suicide lane.
It cuts down
That's-
on traffic accidents.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
I
we-
wondered why.
That's what
I'm
we
like,
called it at the sheriff's office.
49
the
was
suicide
bad.
lane. Oh yeah,
and that's just
49,
because you
yeah.
got two people jumping in at the same time. Okay.
And look, people for some reason like to ride in that. If the traffic's backed up, in the two lanes, they're gonna get in the third or the middle lane, and they're gonna drive as far as they can drive.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then you got somebody wanting to turn left, and there you have it.
Right.
In between Chevron, McDonald's, that turn,
Right.
and the interstate,
Oh, it's
Well, I
all
mean,
we need to bulldoze that whole thing and start over.
Right. Well, it backs up all the way
Yeah.
onto the interstate.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about it with people before. It's like But is there not any other way we could cut an exit from 10 to 90 anywhere else?
So
I mean, that probably would cost crazy
in the future. No, it's actually we've got some engineering going on with it and stuff, but there's a possibility we might be able to get the funding to turn Old Fort Bayou into an intersection with an on ramp and off ramp stuff. The overpass that goes over Old Fort Bayou Road.
Yes. Yes.
There's a possibility, and then the future plan would be to take it down and intersect with I always forget the name of that road, but in Ocean Springs. So basically it would require another bridge over Old Fort Bayou, over the bayou, and it would tie in somewhere around Bechtel.
Okay.
So that's a future plan.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah. So because we're going to have another way in or out of Ocean Springs. There's just no doubt.
That's
too big.
Yeah. If I'm a business on Washington Avenue, I love it because I got everybody passing my stuff. But it's getting to the point, like you say, if you outpace the growth or don't have infrastructure ready for the growth, I try to avoid that place at all costs. So I live right there.
Yeah. So the new improvements on 609 are going to help flow traffic a whole lot better, and it's going to make it a little more walkable, and it's going to make it look a little better.
Yeah.
You know, when we were developing Cook Road, one of the things I insisted on, and it's funny, now Cook Road's in my district, but one of the things I insisted on was, a architectural plan so that we don't have a bunch of hodgepodge of metal buildings and this, and that. Now, 609 over the years has really, some of the new ones that have come in, they've actually took it upon themselves to make it look nice. There's no requirements on 609. You can build a metal building. You can build, you don't really have to have a nice facade. But a lot of those people now are having nice facades built. But on Cook Road, you'll have to have a nice facade on any commercial building. So
I like it.
And you'll have to have a certain amount of landscaping and stuff like that.
Well, there's a pile of land over there too, right?
Oh, man, look, let me tell you, I wished I could tell you who's reached out already, but I can't because I signed a confidentiality agreement. But there's some big players that are looking at it.
I don't know the inkling of what you're talking about, but I always hear people talk about, well, if we get a Bass Pro Shop over here,
I can't
Sam's.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah.
But you can read into that.
There you go. I like that.
So
I've heard the chatter. I hope it's true. I hope so. Anything though of that magnitude, right?
Yeah.
And I think y'all have positioned ourselves. It's right there by the interstate. It's a big in or out. You want to go hit D'Iberville and hit Sangani and all that, go that way, or do you want to go to the interstate and go east or west?
The future plan is to take and hopefully build an overpass to connect into the road that goes in that ties into Lemoyne. So we want to come in from Cook Road, go an overpass over the interstate, and tie into Lemoyne. And so we'd have another way in or out of. Now, it's a possibility it won't be a full-fledged on ramp, off ramp, but it could just be to get you over there and back. So that
would relieve 609 maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going into Ocean Springs regardless. But
and then another hopefully thing about the Cook Road is that Cook Road was the final $15 million was not taxpayer money. That was restore money. That was BP money.
Oh yeah.
That's debt free for us. So every person that comes in there and is going to pay commercial taxes,
that's just to the good
for Jackson County.
Yeah. Is that project on schedule? Is it pretty much?
Yeah. I would say by the end of the year, they should have that intersection tied in and we should be open. Yeah. That's the plan anyway. And that's going to really, and look, let me tell you, it's the funniest thing. Hadn't really got any complaints from over there because all those people that are residences, their property just became commercial. They're like, hey man, what have I got to complain about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. August the 8th. That's
man.
The time, man. How's the campaign's been good? You got any events coming up people need to know about?
No, I had my last event last Saturday before last. We did a barbecue and a free barbecue there in Latimer, and then we did a
community center.
Yeah. And then we did a taco truck Tuesday at Fountain Blue that same week, and then this week is just it's hitting the pavement, talking to people, and the pedals on the metal, and you can't let it up. You
That's
know,
right.
you got until the final vote is counted. It's game on. You know,
Yeah.
it's
because it's new people for you. It's
Yeah,
not the same constituents.
So thank goodness,
constituents.
Got it.
my sheriff's office days, a lot of people still remember me and they like me.
Okay.
So I didn't, so I patrolled that area for probably 3 or 4 years during my sheriff's office days. So and I still know quite a few people, and I've reached out to them, and everything looks good so far. So it's a new area, but it's not a new area for me, because I still know a lot of the people over there. So,
okay. Well, look, we appreciate you stopping by here,
guys,
talking to us. Like, I'm excited. You know, we live in Jackson County.
We're in your district.
Nothing but the best for it. So I appreciate your time. I dropped your the link to your Facebook page in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, if that's where anybody's at right now.
Is that where you're most active, Facebook? Or
Facebook.
Just go to your website.
Yep.
Your phone number's on there, I'm sure.
Yep.
Give you a call.
And it'll be linked in the comments on the audio as well. And if for whatever reason, it's Randy Bosarge, Jackson County Supervisor District 5 on Facebook. So they can shoot you a message, they can call you, whatever they need.
They do already. So there you go. And we answer them. I answer them as fast as I can answer them.
Okay. All right. Well,
go vote August 8th.
Yeah, man. Let's get out there.
Vote,
it's important. Vote. It's important. And hopefully we're helping everybody put faces to names. You know, a lot of times they see a name they don't know. That's why we've been doing this and hammering it as hard as we have. So we appreciate everybody on the live, on the audio replays and everything. If y'all keep listening, we'll keep doing them. So check out the Brownwater Banter app. We always want to plug that. Download it. It's free. Google Play Store and on iTunes. And then also check out the merch we got on brownwaterbanter.com. Just hit the shop tab.
And shortly the Sheepshead Showdown will be popping up. So stay the news for that.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that tournament. So we appreciate it, man. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Later.